Hey there, and welcome. You ever feel like your inner life, your emotions, your reactions, all your thoughts, is like this super complex machine, and you just don't have the user's manual? Well, today we're going to pull out the schematics. We are about to map out that internal system in a way that's finally going to make sense.
And here it is. This 5-gear system is this incredible visual map that really helps us get a handle on our internal spiritual dynamics. It doesn't just show us the individual parts of who we are, but, and this is the important part, it shows how they all lock together and actually drive the way we react to things.
So, as we go through this, I want you to keep this question in mind. How do your inner gears turn? What really sets them in motion? Come on, let's dive in and find out.
All right, so to really understand how this whole machine works, we've got to get to know the parts, right? So let's start with the piece that's right at the center of it all.
So what's really fascinating here is that the core of this whole system, it isn't even a gear. It's the heart. Think of it less like a motor and more like a central energy field. It doesn't really drive anything on its own. Instead, it's conditioned, whether it's a hard, reactive stone heart or a soft, vibrant new heart. That's just a direct reflection of how the rest of the gears are turning.
Okay, so let's start with the default setting. The path most of us are on without even realizing it. This is that reactive cycle, that autopilot mode we call running on flesh. Now, this autopilot mode has a name. The flesh triangle, and it's basically this closed loop that just runs on 3 specific gears. Gear 1, Gear 2, and Gear 5. When we're stuck in this loop, we're relying completely on our own strength, our own understanding to get through life.
And it all kicks off right here, at the bottom, with Gear 1, the anchor. This gear is all about our deepest, often subconscious needs, that core desire we all have to feel lovable, acceptable, worthy, and secure. It's also where our gut feelings and all those old attachments live. This is really the foundation for all of our reactions.
So whenever the needs in Gear 1 feel threatened, it instantly kicks Gear 2 into motion. These are our coping mechanisms. This is that gut-level fight, flight, or freeze response. It's totally automatic. But notice that little note there? It's also the critical pause point. We're going to come back to that because it is so important.
So from that instant reaction in Gear 2, the energy shoots over to Gear 5, our logic and reasoning. Now, this gear's job is just to make sense of what just happened. It scrambles to build a story, a justification for why we freaked out, and that just reinforces our existing beliefs. So in this loop, our logic isn't in the driver's seat. It's in the back, just explaining why we crashed. It's a mirror, simply reflecting a system running on autopilot.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem with this 1-2-5 loop. I mean, it's something the book of Proverbs was talking about centuries ago. Do not lean on your own understanding. When we're stuck in this cycle, that is exactly what we're doing. We're just leaning on our own knee-jerk reactions and the stories our brain tells us to defend them.
So, if that 1-2-5 loop is just a closed circuit that leaves us feeling totally drained, how in the world do we break out? Well, the answer, according to this blueprint, is in 2 other gears that open up a completely new path.
Remember Gear 2, that pause point? This is it. This is the moment where everything can change. And let's be real, this is the hardest part. Our instincts are screaming at us to react, right? To protect ourselves. But that intentional pause, that tiny little split second where we choose not to get swept away, that creates the space we need to shift off the automatic loop and onto a brand new transformational path. And that new path? It's engaged through Gear 3, the way of connection. In this spiritual map, this gear represents Jesus, the path that connects us to the Father. It's a conscious choice to turn toward a divine connection instead of just reacting. You can literally think of it as the exit ramp off the flesh mode highway.
And where does that exit ramp lead? Well, it leads to Gear 4, the source. This one's at the very top of the system. This is the reservoir. It represents the Father's rest, His overflowing abundance. This is the ultimate source of power, peace, and stability for the entire system.
Okay, so now we know about the new parts. Let's see what it actually looks like when the system starts running on spirit. How does the flow of energy really change?
The flow is completely different, a total reversal. It still starts with our needs being felt down in Gear 1, but this time, when our reaction gets triggered in Gear 2, we pause. Then, we make that conscious turn towards connection through Gear 3, which opens up the whole system to be filled from the ultimate source in Gear 4. See that? The energy is now flowing from the top down.
And just look at the difference in the outcomes. I mean, it's night and day.
The 1-2-5 loop, that gives you a reactive stone heart, where your logic is always on the defensive, and it just leads to exhaustion. But the 1-2-3-4 path, that creates a responsive new heart, where your logic starts to reflect peace, and it leads to genuine rest and stability.
And check out what this does to our foundational needs. That overflow of abundance from Gear 4 doesn't just hang out at the top, it flows all the way down and completely soaks Gear 1. So our anchor, which used to be the source of all our frantic reactions, gets transformed into this stable, sea-calming needle, totally secure because it's connected to its true source.
So here's the bottom line. Our inner system has two very different ways it can run. There's the automatic, reactive loop, and there's the intentional, responsive flow. And the whole thing hinges on a single choice we make. And this visual just makes the difference so incredibly clear. The flesh path is this horizontal loop. It's just us running in circles trying to meet our own needs with our own logic. But the spirit path, that's a vertical flow. It's a divine supply pouring down into our deepest places. It's a total shift from self-reliance to divine reliance.
So let's just boil it all down, right? On one side, you've got flesh mode. It's reactive, it runs on autopilot, it's fueled by our own limited thinking, and it hardens our heart. Then on the other side, you've got spirit mode. It's intentional, it requires that critical pause, it's fueled by a divine source, and it results in a totally new, responsive heart. Honestly, the stakes couldn't be higher. And this insight from the Apostle Paul just sums it all up perfectly. The mind that's governed by that automatic, self-reliant loop, that's death. But the mind that intentionally chooses the spirit-led path, that's where you find life and peace.
So you see, this blueprint isn't just some interesting theory, it's a diagnostic tool. And it leaves us with a really practical question we can ask ourselves in any moment of any day. Which path is my system running on right now?